Do you ever wonder why some people seem to get along with everyone while others struggle to be heard? Human behavior is not random, and social intelligence is not something you either have or don't. It's a skill, a way of understanding people, yourself, and the hidden forces that drive every action and reaction. Every smile, hesitation, and word carries meaning, and learning to notice those signals gives you power most people don't even realize exists. Every day you face conversations that can feel stressful, confusing, or frustrating. What if you could handle them calmly, respond confidently, and influence outcomes without forcing anyone? What if you could read people's emotions, understand their fears, and connect with them on a level deeper than words? In this video you will discover practical ways to master your mind, train your emotions, and grow social awareness that changes how people perceive and respond to you. You'll learn how to earn respect, build genuine connections, and navigate human behavior with clarity. This is not theory or fluff, it's actionable insight you can use starting today. Are you ready to understand people, influence effortlessly, and transform every interaction you have? Chapter 1. Understand your mind to understand how people truly think. Understanding the mind is one of the most powerful steps a person can take to improve their life. If there is one thing that separates people who succeed in life from those who struggle, it is the ability to truly understand how the mind works, both your own mind and the minds of the people around you. You cannot influence others effectively unless you first recognize what is happening inside your own head. You cannot respond wisely to a situation if you are being driven by hidden emotions or old habits that you never learned to recognize. Every choice you make, every word you speak, and every action you take begins in the mind. The mind is the command center of everything you do. If you master it, you master yourself. And if you master yourself, you begin to understand others with clarity and compassion. Most people walk through life unaware of the mental patterns that guide them. They react to situations, to people, to events, and to emotions without ever stopping to notice why. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when someone criticizes your work, when someone ignores you, most people respond automatically. Some with anger, some with defensiveness, and some with fear. These reactions may seem normal, but they are not conscious choices, they are habits of the mind. And if you want to understand people, you have to start by understanding these habits, not only in them, but in yourself. The first step is awareness. Awareness is seeing clearly without judgment. It is noticing how you think, how you feel, and how those thoughts and feelings influence your actions. When you are aware of your own mental patterns, you begin to recognize them in others. You notice the hesitation behind someone's words, the tension behind their posture, the pride behind their tone. You notice not just what they are saying, but what they are feeling. People may not always speak their truth openly, but the mind does not lie. Thoughts create emotions, emotions create behaviors, and behaviors create a reality that surrounds us. Understanding this chain gives you the power to read situations accurately and respond wisely. The mind works in layers. There is the conscious layer, the part of your mind that is aware of the present, that thinks logically, and that makes decisions based on facts. Then there is the subconscious layer, the part of the mind that stores habits, fears, desires, and memory. Most people operate mostly from the subconscious without even knowing it. They react automatically, repeating patterns from childhood, from past experiences, and from social conditioning. The challenge is that the subconscious is powerful. It drives behavior faster than the conscious mind can process. And that is why people often act in ways that seem irrational, emotional, or even self-sabotaging. Understanding this is the key to understanding others. People are not always what they seem on the surface, because most of their behavior comes from below the surface, from thoughts and feelings they are not even fully aware of. To understand others, you have to start by understanding yourself. That means being brutally honest with your own mind. What are your triggers? What are the beliefs you hold about people, about life, about yourself? What fears drive your decisions without you realizing it? When you answer these questions, you start to see the common human pattern. You start to notice that most people want the same things. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be valued, and they want to feel safe. When you keep that in mind, when you understand that every action someone takes is often an attempt to meet one of these needs, you start to interpret behavior differently. You stop taking things personally. You stop reacting automatically. You start responding thoughtfully. Observation is the next step. Observation is more than just watching. It is paying attention to what is happening while remaining present and focused. Observe the way someone holds themselves in a conversation. Observe the words they choose and the pauses between their sentences. Observe the tone of their voice, their facial expressions, their gestures. The smallest details reveal the largest truths about how someone is thinking. When you practice observation without judgment, you gather information. And information is power. Not the power to control others, but the power to understand and to respond with wisdom. Understanding the mind also requires empathy. Empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is stepping into someone else's perspective and seeing the world as they see it. When you empathize, you can feel the emotions driving another person without losing your own balance. You can understand why someone is defensive, why someone is insecure, why someone is anxious. And once you understand the emotions driving behavior, you can respond in a way that diffuses tension, builds connection, and creates trust. Social intelligence is rooted in empathy. The more you understand the human mind, the more empathy you can feel, and the more intelligent you become socially. You cannot ignore your own emotions in this process. Your emotions are your guide. They tell you what matters to you, what you value, and where your boundaries lie. Most people spend their lives trying to suppress emotions or pretending they do not exist. But emotions are signals, not weaknesses. When you feel frustrated, angry, sad, or anxious, take a moment to understand why. Ask yourself, what thought or belief created this feeling? Once you understand your emotions, you understand the mental processes that created them. And once you understand the mental processes, you understand the triggers, the pressures, and the desires that exist in every human being. There is a simple but profound truth. People do not respond to what you know, they respond to how you make them feel. And how you make them feel is determined by your own state of mind. If you are calm, confident, and grounded, people respond positively. If you are anxious, reactive, or judgmental, people respond defensively. The mind is contagious. Energy moves from one person to another through subtle cues, tone, posture, and expression. Understanding this is essential. If you master your mind, you master the influence you have on others. If you ignore your mind, you surrender that influence to unconscious forces. Practical action is crucial. Knowledge alone does not create change. You must practice understanding your mind every day. Start with small moments. Notice when you feel tension in a conversation. Notice when a thought triggers anger or fear. Ask yourself why. Reflect on your reactions and patterns. Write them down if you need to. Daily self-reflection is a discipline. It is the exercise that strengthens your ability to recognize patterns in yourself and in others. Over time, this practice rewires the mind. You begin to see people more clearly. You begin to predict responses without guessing. You begin to respond with intelligence instead of reaction. Another important step is curiosity. Be curious about people. Ask yourself what drives them, what they want, what they fear. Curiosity is not intrusive. Curiosity is observing and listening with attention and respect. It is asking questions and being open to answers, without judgment. Curiosity combined with self-awareness creates deep understanding. It allows you to see the human being behind the behavior. And when you see the human being, You can connect at a level that few people ever reach. Understanding the mind also means understanding patterns. Humans are creatures of habit. We repeat behaviors because they worked once or because they satisfy a need. By recognizing patterns, you can anticipate behaviors and choose your responses wisely. This does not mean manipulating people, it means acting with awareness and responsibility. It means choosing to respond in a way that creates trust, cooperation, and positive outcomes. Patterns reveal motives, fears, and desires. Once you can recognize patterns, you begin to read people like a map, not to control them, but to understand and support them effectively. It is also vital to understand the limitations of the mind. The mind can deceive, it can exaggerate fears, minimize achievements, and create false stories. People see the world not as it is, but as they believe it to be. Understanding this gives you compassion. People are not intentionally difficult or mean. They are often reacting to internal stories they have created. By recognizing this, you can respond with patience, guidance, and clarity. You see behavior as a signal, not a threat. You see emotions as data, not obstacles. Finally, the greatest lesson is that understanding your mind is the foundation of mastery. Without this understanding, every interaction is a guess. Every relationship is a struggle. Every decision is clouded by unconscious forces. When you invest time and energy into knowing your thoughts, your emotions, and your triggers, you unlock the ability to see others clearly. You unlock the ability to navigate life with intelligence, compassion, and confidence. You unlock the ability to live a life that is intentional, meaningful, and powerful. Understanding your mind is not a one-time exercise. It is a lifelong practice. It requires patience, reflection, honesty, and humility. But it is the most rewarding journey you can take. When you understand your mind, you understand why people act the way they do. You understand why they make mistakes, why they react with fear, and why they strive for connection and recognition. You understand how to respond in ways that build trust, influence positively, and create harmony. Understanding your mind transforms every relationship, every decision, and every opportunity. When you look at life through this lens, you stop blaming others and start seeing the patterns behind behavior. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop being pushed by circumstances and start leading with clarity. Your social intelligence grows, your relationships deepen, and your life transforms. You begin to live with purpose, presence, and power. Every person you meet becomes a chance to learn, to understand, and to practice mastery of human behavior. Your mind is the starting point. It is the most important tool you have. Protect it, train it, understand it and study it, watch it, reflect on it, and refine it. Every insight you gain about yourself is a window into the minds of others. Every emotion you recognize within yourself is a guide to the emotions of others. Every habit you transform in yourself opens the door to influence and connection in the world around you. In the end, understanding your mind is not just about knowing how people think. It is about becoming the kind of person who thinks clearly, feels wisely, and acts intentionally. It is about creating a life where you can navigate every interaction, every challenge, and every opportunity with intelligence, grace, and power. It is about becoming a master of yourself, so you can understand and influence the world around you in a way that is positive, meaningful, and lasting. Take this knowledge seriously. Commit to observing yourself every day. Commit to reflecting on your thoughts and emotions. Commit to seeing people not as obstacles or annoyances, but as humans with needs, fears, and desires, and watch how your life changes. Watch how your relationships improve. Watch how your influence grows. Watch how your confidence and clarity transform your world. Understanding your mind is the foundation of social intelligence. Social intelligence is the ability to navigate life successfully,
with people. And the first step towards social intelligence is mastering your own thoughts and emotions. Once you do that, everything else becomes possible. The journey begins with attention, curiosity, reflection, and honesty. It grows with patience, observation, empathy, and awareness, and it becomes mastery when you consistently practice it in every area of your life. Human behavior is not complicated. It is logical once you understand the mind, and once you understand the mind, you understand people. This is the path to real influence, real connection, and real success. This is the path to mastery over human behavior. This is the path to social intelligence, and it starts with one thing: understanding your own mind.
Chapter 2. Observe human behavior to learn what drives real actions. Observation is one of the most powerful tools a person can develop. Many people live their lives reacting to what they see on the surface without taking the time to truly notice what lies beneath. The world is full of action, noise, and movement, yet the subtle patterns of human behavior often go unnoticed. People act the way they do for reasons, even when those reasons are hidden, unclear, or unspoken. Understanding the motives behind actions gives you insight into the human mind and opens doors that others rarely see. Observation is not just watching, it is noticing, understanding, and interpreting behavior in a way that reveals the underlying drive. The first step is slowing down. Life moves quickly, and most people react without thinking because they are in a hurry. When you slow down, you give yourself the opportunity to notice details that would otherwise pass by. Notice the way someone carries themselves when they walk into a room. Notice the way their eyes move when they are speaking. Notice the tone and pace of their voice, the tension in their shoulders, the way they shift their weight. Every movement, every expression, and every gesture tells a story about what a person values, fears, or desires. These are the details that reveal the truth behind the actions. Observation requires focus. Your mind is easily distracted, and the moment you stop paying attention, opportunities to understand people disappear. Focus on the present moment. Observe what is happening right in front of you without labeling it as good or bad. Let the facts speak for themselves. Avoid jumping to conclusions. Simply notice what someone is doing and ask yourself why. The answers often lie in patterns. Human behavior is rarely random. People act based on habit, belief, need, or desire. By observing carefully, you begin to detect the hidden patterns that guide behavior. Behavior often masks deeper needs. When someone reacts with anger, it is rarely anger alone. There is usually fear, frustration, or a sense of inadequacy behind it. When someone is withdrawn, there is usually insecurity, doubt, or worry driving the silence. Actions are the outward expression of internal state. By observing behavior closely, you can start to understand what is driving people from within. You begin to see beyond the surface and into the core motivations that influence every decision and reaction. Observation also teaches patience. When you take the time to watch and notice, you learn that people do not always act according to logic. Human actions are often influenced by emotion, environment, and personal history. By observing patiently, you learn to suspend judgment. You stop reacting impulsively to what someone does and start responding thoughtfully. You learn that the same action can mean different things for different people. One person's sarcasm might be playfulness, another's might be frustration. Observation allows you to see these differences and respond with clarity and understanding. Another key aspect of observation is listening. Listening is not just hearing words, it is noticing tone, inflection, and pacing. The way someone speaks can reveal confidence or doubt, excitement or hesitation, openness or defensiveness. People often reveal more through how they speak than what they say. By tuning into these details, you can understand not just the words, but the emotions and intentions behind them. Listening is a form of observation that allows you to decode behavior and understand the person beneath the surface. Observation also requires honesty. You cannot truly see people if you are clouded by assumptions, biases, or preconceived notions. The moment you assume you know why someone acts a certain way, you close the door to understanding. Observation requires putting your ego aside and approaching people with curiosity and humility. You are not observing to judge, criticize, or control. You are observing to understand. You are gathering information about human behavior so you can respond wisely and interact effectively. This honesty opens your eyes to patterns that others overlook. Patterns are the language of human behavior. People repeat actions for reasons, and these repetitions reveal what they truly care about. Notice the choices people make under pressure. Notice the words they repeat when they are stressed. Notice the behaviors that occur when they feel safe versus when they feel challenged. These patterns show the values, fears, and desires driving actions. Understanding these patterns allows you to anticipate behavior, build stronger relationships, and create influence in a way that is natural and ethical. Observation extends beyond individual action. Group behavior reveals additional insights. When people gather, their interactions show hierarchy, influence, and social norms. Watch how people respond to leaders. Watch how they support or resist ideas. Watch how emotions spread through a group. These dynamics reveal unspoken rules, hidden pressures, and collective drives that influence action. Understanding group behavior is essential for social intelligence, because most human behavior occurs within the context of relationships, teams, and community. Observation also reveals opportunity. When you notice how people behave, you can identify gaps, needs, and desires that are unfulfilled. These are opportunities to connect, to support, and to provide value. The more clearly you see behavior, the more effectively you can respond in a way that creates positive outcomes for both yourself and others. Every person you encounter has a motivation, and understanding it allows you to respond in a way that aligns with their reality and your goal. Observation turns insight into action. A critical part of observation is questioning. Not in a confrontational way, but in a thoughtful way. Ask yourself why someone acted a certain way. Ask what need, fear, or desire drove the choice. Ask how their past experiences may be shaping the present behavior. These questions guide your mind to uncover the reasoning behind actions, without assuming or judging. Thoughtful questioning enhances your observation and builds your understanding of human nature. Emotional intelligence and observation go hand in hand. You cannot understand behavior without recognizing emotion. People's actions are rarely purely rational. They are emotional responses to internal and external stimuli. By observing the signs of emotion, such as facial expressions, gestures, or changes in tone, you gain insight into what is driving behavior. Emotional intelligence allows you to interpret these signs accurately and respond in a way that strengthens connection rather than creating conflict. Observation is not passive, it is an active engagement with life. It requires intention, curiosity, and mindfulness. You do not need special skills, books, or courses to start. You need attention. You need focus. You need a willingness to look beyond the obvious and see the human being behind every action. The simplest acts, like noticing how someone reacts when they are complimented, frustrated, or challenged, reveal more than any lecture or theory ever could. Every interaction becomes a classroom, and every person becomes a teacher when you observe intentionally. Another principle is consistency. Observation must be practiced daily. It is not enough to notice behavior once and assume you understand it. Human behavior is fluid. People change depending on the environment, the mood, the relationships, and countless other factors. By consistently observing, you track patterns over time, notice changes, and build a richer understanding of the motives behind action. Consistency strengthens your social intelligence and your ability to respond effectively in all situations.
Observation is also about connecting dots. No behavior occurs in isolation. Small actions, words, and gestures often hint at larger patterns. By connecting these dots, you uncover underlying motivations that may not be obvious at first glance. You see how one action leads to another, how emotions influence decisions, and how thoughts shape behavior. Connecting these dots gives you a clearer picture of reality and allows you to navigate life with insight and skill. The ability to observe behavior also improves problem solving. Most conflicts and misunderstandings occur because people fail to notice the real drivers behind action. By observing carefully, you can identify the root cause of issues. You can see where expectations, fears, and assumptions collide, and once you understand the root cause, you can address the problem effectively, rather than reacting to surface-level symptoms. Observation allows you to solve problems before they escalate. Observation also strengthens empathy. When you notice why people act the way they do, you develop understanding. You see the pressures they face, the desires they hold, and the fears they carry. This awareness creates compassion and patience. You stop judging. You start listening. You start supporting. Observation cultivates emotional maturity and strengthens the bonds of trust and respect in every relationship. It is important to combine observation with reflection. Notice what people do and reflect on the meaning behind it. Ask yourself what the behavior reveals about their priorities, values, and mindset. Reflect on how your own behavior interacts with theirs. Reflection turns simple observation into understanding. It transforms passive noticing into actionable insight. The more you reflect on behavior, the more deeply you understand the driving forces of human action. Observation is also a skill for self-mastery. When you watch others closely, you notice behaviors in yourself that you might have overlooked. You see reactions, habits, and tendencies mirrored in others. This awareness allows you to adjust your own actions and improve your interactions. The more you observe, the more you learn about yourself and the impact you have on those around you. Observation is as much about personal growth as it is about understanding others. Finally, observation builds confidence. When you understand the motives behind actions, you approach interactions with clarity and composure. You are no longer guessing or reacting blind. You can anticipate responses, respond appropriately, and influence outcomes positively. This confidence is grounded in knowledge, awareness, and insight. It is not arrogance. It is a quiet certainty that comes from understanding human behavior deep. Observation is the foundation of social intelligence. Every meaningful connection, every productive conversation, and every successful negotiation begins with observing what is happening beneath the surface. Observation teaches you to notice the patterns, understand the motives, and respond with wisdom. It allows you to move through life with insight, awareness, and emotional balance. When you practice observation, you learn the truth behind actions, the story behind behavior, and the drive behind choices. You gain the ability to act intentionally, rather than react automatically. Life becomes simpler when you observe well. You see situations clearly. You understand people's reactions. You anticipate needs. You respond with clarity and calm. Observation is the practice that allows you to navigate complexity, handle conflict, and build stronger relationships. It is the skill that separates people who succeed in life from those who struggle in social interactions. The world is full of people acting out of desire, fear, habit, or belief. When you observe closely, you understand why. You notice the small details that reveal big truth. You connect the dots that others miss. You interpret emotions and motives accurately. You respond with intelligence and empathy. Observation transforms your understanding of life and the people in it. It is a lifelong skill that pays lifelong reward.
Chapter 3. Train your emotions to stay strong under social pressure. Emotions are the most immediate drivers of human behavior, yet most people never take the time to understand them, control them, or harness them. Every interaction, every decision, every conversation you have is influenced by your emotional state. People under pressure often react instinctively, saying or doing things they later regret. Social pressure can trigger feelings of anxiety, anger, fear, or self-doubt, and these emotions can cloud judgment and derail success. The key to mastery in life, in relationships, and in leadership is learning how to manage your emotions before they manage you. Training your emotions is not about suppressing them. It is about understanding them, guiding them, and using them to your advantage. The first step in training emotions is recognition. Most people operate on autopilot, unaware of the emotional currents running through them. When someone disagrees with you, when someone criticizes your work, when a situation does not go your way, notice the feelings that arise. Are you feeling defensive, frustrated, embarrassed, or fearful? Take a moment to identify the emotion clearly. Naming an emotion reduces its power over you. The more accurately you recognize what you feel, the more effectively you can respond. Awareness is the foundation of emotional control. Once you recognize your emotions, the next step is understanding their source. Emotions rarely appear out of nowhere. They are responses to thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. Ask yourself why you feel the way you do. What belief or expectation is being challenged? What fear is being triggered? What need is not being met? Understanding the source of your emotion allows you to respond with intelligence rather than react instinctively. Without this understanding, emotions control you, and your reactions become unpredictable and often damaging. Training your emotions also requires practice under low-pressure situations. You cannot wait until a high-stakes moment to test your emotional control. Practice managing your feelings in small, everyday interactions. Practice staying calm during minor frustrations, like traffic delays or misunderstandings at work. Practice listening without immediately responding when someone challenges your opinion. These small moments of practice build mental and emotional resilience that carries over to higher pressure situations. Emotional strength is not built overnight. It is built through repeated, intentional practice. Self-talk is a powerful tool in emotional training. The words you say to yourself influence how you feel and how you act. When faced with social pressure, notice the story you are telling yourself. Are you telling yourself that the situation is unfair, that people are against you, or that you are not capable? These thoughts fuel negative emotion. Replace them with statements that reinforce calm, confidence, and clarity. Remind yourself that you can handle challenges, that pressure is temporary, and that your response is a choice. Your mind responds to your words, and your emotions follow. Breathing and physical control are closely connected to emotional control. When under pressure, the body responds with tension, increased heart rate, and shallow breathing. These physical responses amplify emotional intensity. By controlling your body, you influence your mind. Slow, deep breaths signal to your nervous system that you are safe, calm, and capable. Stand or sit with good posture, release tension in your shoulders, and focus on steady breathing. These small physical adjustments help regulate your emotions and restore clarity under stress. Observation of others also strengthens emotional resilience. Notice how people handle pressure around you. Who reacts impulsively and who remains composed? How do confident individuals maintain control without overreacting? Learn from their behavior. Use it as a model for your own action. Emotional strength is as much about learning from observation as it is about internal practice. Watching others manage emotions successfully gives you insight into strategies that work and mistakes to avoid. Perspective is another critical element of emotional training. When under social pressure, it is easy to see the situation as personal, urgent, or catastrophic. Step back and ask yourself whether the pressure is as critical as it feels. What is the long-term impact of your reaction? How will this moment look in a week, a month, or a year? Shifting your perspective reduces emotional intensity and allows rational thinking to guide your response. Perspective transforms pressure from a threat into an opportunity to demonstrate strength. Emotional strength also requires boundaries. Know where your limits lie and recognize when situations exceed them. Social pressure often arises because others test your patience, challenge your values, or attempt to manipulate your reactions. Establishing clear boundaries allows you to respond with composure and prevents emotional burnout. Boundaries create a framework for consistent behavior and protect your emotional state from unnecessary stress. By respecting your own boundaries, you send a clear signal to others that you are steady, confident, and in control of your emotion. Reflection is an essential component of training emotions. After every challenging interaction, take time to reflect. How did you feel? What triggered your emotions? How did your response influence the outcome? What could you do differently next time? Reflection turns experience into learning. It allows you to identify patterns in your reactions and refine your approach. The more consistently you reflect, the more quickly you develop emotional mastery. Without reflection, emotional growth is slow and inconsistent. Empathy is intertwined with emotional strength. Understanding others' emotions does not mean letting them control you. Instead, it provides clarity about why people act the way they do, reducing emotional reactions like anger or frustration. When you recognize that someone's behavior is influenced by fear, stress, or insecurity, it becomes easier to stay composed. Empathy allows you to respond with patience and effectiveness rather than impulsive reaction. Strong emotions require insight into both your own state and the emotional state of others. Training emotions also involves cultivating patience. Social pressure often triggers a sense of urgency, prompting immediate responses. Patience slows the process, allowing time for reasoning and evaluation. Delay your reaction intentionally. Take a moment to breathe, observe, and reflect. This pause can prevent regretful words, rash decisions, and escalated conflict. Patience is a sign of emotional maturity and gives you control over the interaction, rather than being controlled by it. Visualization can strengthen emotional resilience. Imagine yourself in high-pressure situations, responding calmly and effectively. Picture your tone, your posture, and your words reflecting composure and intelligence. Visualization creates mental pathways that prepare you for real-life scenarios. By practicing how you would handle pressure in your mind, your body and mind are better equipped to maintain emotional stability when the situation arises. The more vividly you visualize, the more automatic calm responses become in reality. Emotional strength requires continuous practice, not occasional effort. Every day presents opportunities to train your mind and body to respond constructively to pressure. Even seemingly insignificant interactions are training grounds. A conversation with a colleague, a disagreement with a friend, or a family conflict provides a chance to exercise emotional control. Consistency is the key to turning emotional training into a habit. Habits of composure eventually define how you navigate life. Self-compassion is vital in emotional training. You will not always respond perfectly under pressure. You will make mistakes, misread cues, and say things you later wish you hadn't. Acknowledge these moments without harsh judgment. Treat yourself with understanding and use mistakes as learning opportunities. Emotional strength is built through experience, not perfection. Every misstep provides insight into your triggers and areas for growth. Compassion towards yourself accelerates mastery of emotional control. Accountability strengthens emotional discipline. Share your goal of emotional mastery with someone you trust. Ask them to observe your reactions in challenging situations and provide feedback. External observation highlights blind spots that you may not notice on your own.
Honest feedback combined with self-reflection accelerates learning. Emotional resilience grows faster when you balance internal observation with external input. Understanding triggers is critical. Each person has specific situations, words, or behaviors that evoke strong emotion. Identify your triggers through reflection and observation. Notice patterns of irritation, defensiveness, or anxiety. Once recognized, prepare strategies to respond constructively when triggers appear. Awareness of triggers transforms vulnerability into preparation, reducing the likelihood of impulsive reactions under social pressure. Training your emotions also benefits decision-making. Decisions made under emotional stress are rarely optimal. By cultivating emotional stability, you ensure your choices reflect reason, strategy, and long-term goals. Social pressure often attempts to manipulate choices through urgency or peer influence. Emotional mastery allows you to resist manipulation. Stay aligned with your principles and act with clarity and integrity. Strong emotional control directly improves life outcomes. Supportive habits reinforce emotional strength. Regular exercise, sufficient rest, and healthy nutrition stabilize your nervous system, making emotional control easier. Stress management practices, such as meditation, journaling, or mindfulness, provide additional resilience. Habits that calm the mind strengthen the ability to maintain composure during social pressure. Emotional training is both mental and physical, requiring attention to lifestyle alongside reflection and practice. Training emotions is not isolation. Observe how emotionally strong individuals navigate pressure. Notice their posture, tone, patience, and empathy. Learn from mentors, leaders, and peers who demonstrate composure. Emulate their strategies and refine them for your own. The world provides examples of both success and failure in emotional mastery. Observation, combined with personal practice, accelerates your growth. Finally, emotional mastery transforms relationships. People are drawn to those who remain calm, confident, and balanced under pressure. Strong emotions that are well managed inspire trust, respect, and cooperation. Emotional control prevents unnecessary conflict, diffuses tension, and fosters collaboration. Social pressure becomes an opportunity to demonstrate strength, rather than a source of anxiety. Mastery of emotions is mastery of influence and connection. Emotional training is a lifelong journey. Every interaction, conversation, and decision presents a chance to practice. Each challenge teaches new lessons about triggers, reactions, and resilience. Through consistent recognition, reflection, self-compassion, and practice, emotional strength becomes a natural part of your character. You become someone who can navigate the complexities of human behavior with grace, insight, and power. When emotions are trained, social pressure loses its power. Situations that once provoked fear or frustration become opportunities to demonstrate clarity, composure, and intelligence. You act from a place of conscious choice rather than reaction. Your relationships improve, your influence grows, and your life becomes more predictable and intentional. Emotional strength is not a talent, it is a skill that can be cultivated through awareness, practice, and commitment. The ability to remain calm under pressure is one of the greatest advantages you can develop. It affects your personal life, professional life, and every interaction in between. Social pressure will always exist. People will challenge you, test you, and attempt to push your buttons. Life will present stressful situations repeatedly. Training your emotions ensures you are not at the mercy of circumstance. It ensures you can navigate challenges, maintain relationships, and make decisions that align with your goals. Emotional mastery is freedom. Freedom from reaction, freedom from regret, and freedom from unnecessary conflict. It allows you to live intentionally, act consciously, and influence positively. People respect composure. People trust calm strength. People follow clarity and consistency. By training your emotions, you transform yourself into someone who can handle anything life presents without losing balance, focus, or integrity.
Chapter 4. Recognize hidden fears that shape everyday human reactions. Fear is one of the most powerful forces shaping human behavior, yet it is often invisible. People act, speak, and react every day based on fears they are not even conscious of. Fear drives decisions, creates barriers, and limits opportunities without most people realizing it. Every argument, hesitation, or overreaction carries a shadow of fear behind it. If you want to understand human behavior deeply and improve your interactions, you must learn to recognize these hidden fears. They are the invisible threads influencing every action and reaction in daily life. The first step in recognizing hidden fears is observing patterns. Look closely at how people respond to challenges, criticism, or change. Notice when someone hesitates, avoids, or overcompensates. These behaviors are often indicators of underlying fears. Hesitation may reveal a fear of failure. Avoidance may indicate insecurity, and overcompensation may mask a fear of being judged. Hidden fears rarely announce themselves. They speak in small signals, in gestures, in tone, and in repeated choices. Observation allows you to decode these signals with clarity. Hidden fears are often unconscious. People rarely admit to being afraid of rejection, inadequacy, or loss. Instead, they create stories or rationalizations for their actions. Someone may say they are too busy to take on a challenge, but the real reason is fear of failure. Another person may criticize or dominate a conversation, masking a fear of being ignored or unseen. Understanding that fear is often concealed behind words and actions allows you to look beyond the surface and see the real motivation. Self-awareness is critical to recognizing fear in others. The clearer you are about your own fears, the more you can identify them in the behaviors of others. Everyone has insecurities, doubts, and vulnerabilities. When you examine your own mind with honesty, you start noticing similarities in others. This empathy is not sympathy, it is insight. It allows you to respond with understanding rather than judgment. You see that people's reactions are often not about you, but about their own internal battles with fear. Fear manifests in predictable ways. Some people withdraw when they feel threatened. Some act aggressively. Some distract themselves or change the topic when a difficult subject arises. Some avoid making decisions entirely. Recognizing these patterns gives you a map of human behavior. It allows you to understand why someone is reacting in a certain way and anticipate what they might do next. Fear is consistent even when it is hidden, and learning to read its signs gives you a profound advantage in every interaction. Listening is a tool to uncover hidden fear. Pay attention not just to the words, but to how they are spoken. Hesitations, pauses, and changes in tone often reveal unease or doubt. The choice of words can hint at concerns or insecurities that are not stated directly. When you listen carefully, you pick up on these subtle cues. People reveal their fears even when they are not consciously aware of them, and your attention to detail allows you to notice what others miss. Body language provides additional insight into hidden fear. Closed postures, fidgeting, lack of eye contact, or rigid movements often indicate discomfort. A smile that does not reach the eyes may mask nervousness. Leaning back or away may signal defensiveness. By observing these physical signals in conjunction with words, you can form a more complete understanding of what someone is feeling beneath the surface. People are rarely fully transparent with words alone, but their body speaks consistently. Hidden fears are often linked to past experiences. Childhood experiences, past failures, and previous rejections leave lasting impressions. These impressions shape how people respond to similar situations in the present. Someone who experienced criticism as a child may overreact to minor feedback as an adult. Someone who faced rejection repeatedly may avoid opportunities that seem risky. Recognizing that current behavior is often influenced by past fear allows you to approach situations with compassion and perspective. Questions are a powerful tool for uncovering hidden fear. Thoughtful, non-confrontational questions invite people to share their concerns. Asking about their priorities, challenges, or perspectives allows you to hear their fears indirectly. People rarely reveal their deepest anxieties outright, but careful questioning creates an opportunity for understanding. Questions also help you distinguish between fear-driven behavior and conscious choice, giving you clarity on how to respond effectively. Fear affects decision-making profoundly. People avoid decisions when they fear making mistakes. They delay action when they fear criticism or failure. They compromise values when they fear rejection. Recognizing the presence of fear in decision-making helps you anticipate hesitation and provides an opportunity to guide conversations toward clarity and confidence. Understanding this allows you to support others in taking action while maintaining respect for their underlying concerns. Self-reflection is essential. To recognize fear in others, reflect on the fears that influence your own behavior. When you notice your own hesitation, overreaction, or avoidance, analyze the root cause. This process increases sensitivity to the fears that operate in daily life. The more you understand your own hidden fears, the more accurate your perception of others becomes. Self-reflection trains your mind to detect subtle cues and respond intelligently, rather than reactively. Hidden fears also reveal themselves through patterns of communication. Some people avoid direct language, hedge their statements, or over-apologize. Others dominate discussions or challenge ideas unnecessarily. These patterns are coping mechanisms for fear. By recognizing these behaviors, you learn to interpret the underlying motivations, rather than responding only to surface words. Emotional intelligence and observation together allow you to identify these hidden drivers and navigate interactions strategically. Empathy is essential in responding to hidden fear. Recognizing fear is one thing, responding wisely is another. When you understand that a defensive comment, hesitation, or avoidance stems from fear, you respond with patience and consideration. You do not escalate conflict or provoke insecurity. Instead, you create a safe space for dialogue. Empathy allows you to address fears indirectly by fostering trust and security rather than confrontation. People reveal their true selves when they feel understood, and empathy creates that space. Perspective shifts reduce the impact of fear in social situations. Recognizing that fear drives behavior allows you to separate the action from the person. Someone's irritability or defensiveness may feel personal, but in reality it is a reflection of their internal state. By seeing actions through the lens of fear, you reduce emotional reactivity and respond with clarity. Perspective creates objectivity, which allows you to influence outcomes positively, rather than being controlled by emotional reactions. Encouragement and reassurance counteract fear. When people sense that they are supported, their fear diminishes. A calm presence, a confident tone, and genuine acknowledgement of effort can reduce defensive behavior and promote openness. Fear thrives in environments of judgment, criticism, or high pressure. By providing reassurance and support, you create conditions for authentic behavior to emerge. Observation, understanding, and encouragement together transform interactions and build trust. Awareness of hidden fears allows you to navigate social complexity with skill. People's decisions, reactions, and habits are influenced by fears that are not immediately visible. By recognizing these fears, you can anticipate challenges, respond effectively, and guide conversations toward productive outcomes. Fear is often silent, but it shapes almost every interaction. Observing it, understanding it, and responding intelligently
empowers you to create influence without coercion. Hidden fears are not weaknesses, they are signals. They indicate what people care about deeply, what they value and what threatens their sense of security. Understanding fear as a signal shifts your perspective from judgment to insight. You begin to see opportunities to connect, guide and influence without conflict. Fear is not the enemy. Ignorance of it is. By recognizing it, you gain clarity and wisdom. Practicing patience is essential when working with hidden fears. People rarely overcome fear instantly. Reactions may take time to change. Observing patiently and responding consistently creates an environment where fear loses its power. Impulsiveness often triggers defensive reactions, whereas calm, consistent behavior builds trust and reduces anxiety. Patience is the bridge between fear recognition and effective influence. Consistency in behavior builds credibility. When others experience your calm and steady presence repeatedly, they feel safe. This consistency encourages openness, reduces fear-driven reactions, and strengthens relationships. Fear often exaggerates uncertainty, but predictable responses from others create security. Your emotional consistency becomes a stabilizing force, allowing fear to surface without dominating interactions. Reflection after interactions. Reflection after interactions reinforces learning. After challenging conversations or moments where fear influenced behavior, take time to analyze what fear might have been present. How did it shape actions? How could you respond differently next time? Reflection transforms observation into skill and intuition. Each interaction becomes a lesson in understanding human behavior at a deeper level. Recognizing hidden fears also enhances leadership. Leaders who understand the fears of their team members can create environments that encourage initiative, innovation, and engagement. Fear drives avoidance and resistance, but awareness of underlying concerns allows leaders to provide support, guidance, and motivation. Emotional intelligence and observation combined create influence without force, and recognition of hidden fears is central to this process. Finally, recognizing hidden fears improves self-mastery. The more you understand the fears in others, the more aware you become of the fears operating within you. You identify moments when insecurity or worry might drive your own behavior. This awareness allows you to take control, respond thoughtfully, and grow in confidence. Mastery of fear in yourself and understanding of fear in others are the foundation of emotional intelligence, effective leadership, and deep personal growth. When fear is recognized, it loses its power. The invisible threads that manipulate actions become visible. You can respond with calm confidence and strategy. People no longer seem unpredictable because you understand the driving force behind their reaction. Relationships become more transparent, decisions become more deliberate, and social interactions become opportunities for connection rather than stress. The ability to see hidden fears transforms every aspect of life. Personal relationships improve, professional interactions strengthen, and social intelligence grows exponentially. Life becomes more manageable, interactions become more productive, and influence becomes a natural byproduct of understanding. Fear, once hidden, becomes a tool for insight rather than a source of frustration. Recognition, empathy, and thoughtful response create mastery in both human behavior and self-leadership.
Chapter 5. Build inner stability to connect with balanced confidence. Inner stability is the cornerstone of confidence and the foundation of meaningful connections. People who appear calm, grounded, and self-assured are not necessarily free from challenges or external pressure. What sets them apart is that they have cultivated a strong inner core, a sense of balance and clarity that cannot be easily shaken. This stability is not something you are born with, it is developed intentionally over time through reflection, discipline, and practice. When your inner world is secure, your external interactions become more authentic, more powerful, and more consistent. The first step in building inner stability is understanding yourself. Stability begins with clarity about who you are, what you value, and what drives your decisions. When you have a clear sense of your priorities, your decisions no longer depend entirely on external approval or circumstances. You know your principles, and your actions align with them. This alignment creates confidence that is not fragile, because it is rooted in understanding and acceptance of yourself, rather than in the opinions or behaviors of others. Self-awareness is essential in this process. Notice your reactions in challenging situations. When someone challenges your ideas, criticizes your work, or acts unpredictably, how do you respond? Do you feel shaken, defensive, or anxious? Or do you remain composed and thoughtful? Observing your responses provides insight into areas where inner stability may be lacking. Without awareness, it is impossible to strengthen the mind and emotions. Awareness is the first building block of inner stability. Discipline is the next step. Stability is strengthened through daily habits that train the mind and body. Consistent routines for sleep, exercise, nutrition, and reflection give the nervous system the balance it needs to withstand stress. Mental discipline through journaling, meditation, or intentional thinking provides clarity and emotional resilience. Habits are the scaffolding for stability because they make calm, intentional behavior automatic rather than dependent on willpower alone. Emotional regulation is critical. People with inner stability do not react impulsively to pressure, criticism, or unexpected changes. Instead, they notice their emotions, acknowledge them, and choose how to act. Emotional stability does not mean the absence of feelings, it means mastery over reactions. Training emotions to respond instead of react creates consistency, reduces conflict, and inspires confidence in others. People are drawn to those who demonstrate calm in the face of uncertainty. Perspective plays a vital role in inner stability. Stability comes from seeing life accurately rather than through a lens of exaggeration or fear. Situations often appear more urgent or threatening than they truly are. By stepping back, evaluating facts, and keeping long-term goals in mind, you reduce the intensity of emotional reactions. Perspective transforms challenges into manageable experiences rather than sources of stress. Balanced thinking cultivates a sense of control that anchors confidence. Self-talk shapes stability. The language you use with yourself determines how grounded you feel. People often sabotage their inner calm with negative thoughts, doubts, or catastrophizing. Training your inner dialogue to focus on solutions, strengths, and realistic assessments strengthens your foundation. Positive self-talk reinforces self-trust and helps maintain clarity under pressure. When your mind consistently supports rather than undermines you, confidence becomes natural rather than forced. Inner stability also requires letting go of what you cannot control. Many people become unbalanced because they attempt to control outcomes, people, or circumstances beyond their influence. Stability comes from focusing on what is within your power, your choices, your actions, and your responses. Acceptance of limits reduces anxiety, conserves energy, and allows you to act with clarity and intention. Confidence grows when your energy is directed toward things you can influence, rather than wasted on uncontrollable factors. Boundaries contribute to a stable inner state. Knowing what you will accept, tolerate, or engage with prevents unnecessary stress and emotional upheaval. Boundaries are not walls, they are guidelines that protect your mental and emotional equilibrium. By maintaining boundaries, you prevent situations from draining your energy, reduce reactive behavior, and create conditions for productive and healthy interactions. Stability and confidence flourish in an environment where boundaries are clear. Practice resilience. Stability is not the absence of challenges, it is the ability to navigate challenges without being destabilized. Life presents setbacks, criticism, and unexpected obstacles. Inner stability allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. It allows you to recover quickly, maintain focus, and continue moving toward your goals. Resilience is built through facing challenges deliberately, learning from mistakes, and reflecting on personal growth. Every challenge becomes a training ground for stronger inner stability. Mindful presence strengthens stability. Being present in interactions and experiences anchors the mind and prevents overreaction to imagined threats or past mistakes. When your attention is fully in the moment, you respond to reality rather than to assumptions or projections. Presence enhances clarity, reduces emotional volatility, and fosters authentic connection with others. People sense when someone is fully present, and it increases trust, credibility, and confidence in both personal and professional relationships. Observation of personal triggers is essential. Notice what situations, words, or behaviors disturb your balance. Triggers reveal areas where insecurity, fear, or unresolved conflict exists. Identifying them allows you to prepare, respond intentionally, and prevent unnecessary destabilization. Inner stability grows when you anticipate reactions and develop strategies to maintain composure rather than reacting impulsively. Awareness of triggers is a practical tool for self-mastery. Reflection consolidates inner strength. Daily reflection on actions, decisions, and emotional responses strengthens self-understanding. Consider what made you feel confident, what unsettled you, and how you could improve. Reflection transforms experiences into wisdom and reinforces patterns of stability. It also allows you to track progress over time, reinforcing the belief that calm, balanced confidence is achievable and sustainable. Self-trust is a direct outcome of stability. When you consistently respond thoughtfully under pressure, you build trust in your own judgment. This trust reduces doubt and hesitation, allowing you to act decisively. Confidence rooted in self-trust is grounded and enduring. Others recognize it immediately, and it attracts respect, credibility, and cooperation. Building inner stability is therefore not only personal, it shapes your social influence and presence. Connection with others is enhanced through stability. People are drawn to those who remain composed, grounded, and confident. Emotional volatility creates tension, unpredictability, and distrust. By maintaining a stable presence, you create an environment where others feel secure, respected, and valued. Balanced confidence does not intimidate, it invites collaboration, dialogue, and engagement. Stability allows you to connect authentically because you are not reacting to every stimulus, but responding thoughtfully and consistently. Preparation strengthens stability. Anticipate challenging situations and plan your response. Consider potential stressors, difficult questions, or high-pressure moments in advance. Preparing mentally allows you to approach events with calmness and intentionality. Confidence is enhanced when you know you have considered outcomes and equipped yourself to handle them thoughtfully. Preparation reduces reactive behavior and reinforces composure. Integrity underpins stability. When your actions align with your principles, inner balance is reinforced. Acting inconsistently or compromising core values creates internal tension and undermines confidence. Stability grows when you know that your decisions reflect honesty, fairness, and personal ethics. Confidence rooted in integrity is unshakable because it is self-reinforcing and independent of external approval. Adaptability supports inner balance. Stability does not mean rigidity. It means maintaining composure while adjusting to changing circumstances. Life is unpredictable, and the ability to remain grounded while navigating change separates individuals who succeed from those who struggle. Adaptability allows you to respond to challenges strategically while maintaining inner equilibrium. Confidence is amplified when flexibility is combined with mental strength. Gratitude reinforces balance. Recognizing what is positive and secure in your life reduces emotional turbulence and builds perspective.
Gratitude stabilizes the mind by shifting attention from what is lacking or threatening to what is present and reliable. Daily acknowledgement of personal strengths, achievements, and supportive relationships strengthens inner calm and boosts natural confidence. Focus on solutions rather than problems. Inner stability is maintained when attention is directed toward actionable steps rather than dwelling on challenges or setbacks. People who fixate on difficulties often feel unsteady and reactive. Shifting the mind to problem solving and practical action reinforces confidence and keeps emotions regulated. Stability and action are intertwined. One cannot exist fully without the other. Consistency in character builds enduring confidence. People notice those whose behavior is reliable, predictable, and composed. When your words and actions are consistent over time, you create credibility and a sense of security in yourself and others. Stability in character reinforces self-esteem, social trust, and the ability to influence positively without intimidation or manipulation. Visualization strengthens inner stability. Imagine yourself responding calmly to stressful situations, maintaining composure during disagreements, and leading with clarity. Mental rehearsal builds neural pathways that prepare the mind to act with confidence, and the more vividly you visualize composure and balance, the more natural it becomes in real life. Visualization is a mental training tool that enhances emotional and psychological resilience. Finally, recognize that inner stability is a lifelong practice. It is built through awareness, reflection, discipline, and consistent effort. It requires observation of self, emotional regulation, preparation, and alignment with values. It is strengthened by empathy, patience, and focus. Stability is not an endpoint, but a continuous journey. Every day offers opportunities to reinforce balance, build confidence, and connect authentically with others. When inner stability is cultivated, life becomes more manageable, relationships more meaningful, and decisions more deliberate. Pressure loses its power to destabilize, criticism becomes an opportunity for growth, and uncertainty becomes navigable rather than intimidating. People respond to your composure with respect and trust. Confidence becomes a natural extension of your inner security rather than a performance. The journey toward inner stability transforms both self and social experience. It creates resilience against stress, clarity in decision-making, and calm in uncertainty. Balanced confidence flows naturally from this stability, shaping your presence, influence, and interaction. By focusing on the development of a grounded inner self, you enhance every aspect of your life and interactions. Stability is not just a personal asset, it is a force that strengthens every connection, fosters trust, and builds lasting influence.
Chapter 6. Notice small behaviors that reveal deeper emotional truths. Human behavior is full of signals, yet most people miss the subtle ones that reveal the deepest truths about how others feel. Small behaviors, tiny gestures, fleeting expressions, slight changes in tone, or brief pauses carry enormous information about what a person is experiencing internally. People often say one thing but show something entirely different through small, almost imperceptible behaviors. Learning to notice these details allows you to understand people at a level that goes far beyond words. It is the difference between interacting superficially and connecting meaningfully. The first step in noticing these behaviors is slowing down and paying attention. Life moves fast, and conversations are often rushed. When you slow down, you create space to observe details that others overlook. Watch the way someone moves their hands, the way their eyes shift, or the rhythm of their speech. These micro-behaviors reveal emotions such as tension, discomfort, excitement, or uncertainty. The more attuned you become to these signals, the clearer the picture of the person's internal state becomes. Every behavior is meaningful. Fidgeting, hesitation, sighs, brief smiles, or subtle glances are not random. They are expressions of thought and feeling. Someone may nod their head slowly while speaking, indicating doubt or hesitation. Another person may laugh softly when embarrassed, revealing vulnerability even if their words seem confident. Recognizing that these small behaviors are meaningful helps you interpret interactions accurately rather than relying solely on spoken words. People often communicate their emotional truth in ways they do not consciously control. Observation requires focus and intention. To notice small behaviors, you must engage fully with the moment, avoid distractions, and truly pay attention to what is happening. Notice patterns over time. One small gesture may seem insignificant on its own, but repeated behaviors often reveal consistent emotional states. People reveal their values, priorities, and feelings through repetition. When you notice these patterns, you gain insight into motivations, fears, and desires that shape daily actions. Body language is one of the most revealing aspects of human behavior. Posture, facial expressions, eye movements, and hand gestures often indicate emotions that words cannot fully express. Someone who leans back slightly and crosses their arms may be guarding themselves or feeling skeptical. A slight frown or tightened jaw can signal stress or frustration. A relaxed posture and open gestures often indicate trust and comfort. Observing body language consistently provides a window into the emotions driving behavior. Tone of voice is another critical clue. People convey a wide range of emotions through pitch, volume, speed, and rhythm. A pause before answering may indicate thoughtfulness, hesitation, or uncertainty. A rising tone may signal doubt or a request for validation. A softer tone may reflect vulnerability or humility. By paying attention to these subtle variations, you gain insight into the speaker's emotional state beyond the literal meaning of their words. Micro-expressions are powerful indicators of internal truth. These fleeting facial expressions often last only a fraction of a second, but reveal emotions such as anger, fear, surprise, or joy. They are involuntary and difficult to mask, making them highly reliable indicators of underlying feeling. Learning to notice micro-expressions sharpens your ability to detect emotional truth even when someone is trying to hide it. Recognizing these expressions allows you to respond empathetically and thoughtfully. Small behaviors also reveal hidden fear. A person who avoids eye contact, touches their face frequently, or shifts weight from foot to foot may be experiencing insecurity, anxiety, or doubt. Someone who interrupts frequently or dominates conversation may be masking fear of being ignored or undervalued. Understanding the fear behind these actions allows you to interpret behavior accurately and respond in ways that reduce tension rather than escalating it. Observation becomes a tool for connection rather than judgment. Habits reveal deeper truths over time. The routines people maintain, the ways they organize their space, and the small rituals they repeat reflect priorities, comfort levels, and emotional states. A person who checks messages constantly may feel anxious or overwhelmed. Someone who meticulously organizes their environment may crave control or stability. These small behaviors give insight into emotional needs that are rarely spoken aloud. Understanding these habits provides practical information for interacting thoughtfully. Listening carefully complements observing behavior. Focus on what is said, how it is said, and what is left unsaid. Silence can be as revealing as words. Pauses, hesitations, or repeated phrases often indicate internal conflict, doubt, or unexpressed concern. Paying attention to both verbal and non-verbal cues creates a full picture of emotional reality. Listening with intention allows you to interpret behavior accurately and respond in ways that build trust and understanding. Observation requires detachment and curiosity. Do not jump to assumptions or judgments about what someone's behavior means. Instead, remain curious and consider multiple possibilities. Someone who avoids eye contact might be shy, embarrassed, or simply distracted. A person who taps their fingers might be impatient, nervous, or excited. Detachment allows you to notice behaviors objectively analyze patterns, and interpret emotional meaning without bias. Curiosity drives understanding and prevents misreading signals. Small behaviors often reveal relationship dynamics. Observe how people interact with others in groups or one-on-one situations. Who leads conversations? Who defers to others? Who reacts defensively or cooperatively? These behaviors indicate emotional comfort, confidence, trust, and influence within social contexts. Understanding these dynamics provides insight into underlying feelings such as respect, fear, admiration, or insecurity. It also allows you to navigate social interactions with awareness and effectiveness. Observation enhances empathy. When you notice the small behaviors that reveal emotional truths, you develop understanding and compassion. You see that frustration may mask fatigue, impatience may hide insecurity, and irritation may stem from stress. Empathy does not mean excusing behavior, it means understanding the emotional forces behind it. Recognizing these small signals allows you to respond with patience, support, and constructive communication, rather than reacting impulsively. Context matters. The meaning of a behavior is influenced by the environment and circumstances. Someone may appear anxious during a meeting, but relaxed in informal conversation. A gesture that signals irritation in one setting may be neutral in another. Always consider context when interpreting small behavior. Observing consistency across different situations improves accuracy in understanding emotional truths. Patterns across time reveal consistency. A single gesture may be misinterpreted, but repeated behaviors provide evidence of stable emotional tendency. Someone who consistently avoids conflict may value harmony deeply. Someone who frequently checks details may fear mistakes or value precision. Noticing these repeated behaviors allows you to predict likely reactions, understand values, and communicate effectively. Consistent observation turns small details into powerful insight. Observation builds influence. When you understand the emotional realities behind behaviors, you can respond strategically without manipulation. You can create environments where people feel safe, heard, and understood. Small gestures such as maintaining eye contact, nodding in acknowledgement, or mirroring body language subtly communicate understanding. These responses strengthen connection and create trust because they align with the emotional needs revealed by the behaviors you notice. Reflection strengthens learning from observation. After interactions, consider what behaviors you noticed, what emotions they revealed, and how your response influenced outcomes. Reflecting on patterns and responses improves accuracy in interpreting future behavior. It also reinforces your own emotional awareness and capacity for thoughtful action. Observation combined with reflection turns subtle signals into mastery of human behavior. Nonverbal communication reveals intention. People often express desires, agreement, disagreement, or hesitation through subtle actions before speaking. A slight lean forward can indicate engagement, interest, or readiness. A backward shift may indicate discomfort, hesitation, or resistance. Noticing these cues allows you to act in alignment with the unspoken truth rather than relying solely on verbal statements. The small actions often speak louder than words. Observation enhances decision-making. When you notice emotional truths behind behaviors, you can anticipate reactions, guide conversations, and respond in ways that foster collaboration and understanding. Small behaviors provide insight into what motivates, excites, or concerns others. Acting with awareness of these signals allows decisions to be grounded in reality rather than assumptions, reducing conflict and improving outcomes. Mindfulness strengthens the ability to notice small behavior. By practicing present moment awareness, you develop sensitivity to subtle cues that others overlook. Mindfulness trains you to observe without distraction, to notice minor changes in tone, expression,
or posture, and to interpret them accurately. This skill deepens emotional intelligence and allows you to engage meaningfully in every interaction. Consistency in observing small behaviors builds credibility and trust. When people feel that you accurately understand their emotional state, they respond with openness and cooperation. People instinctively notice when others are attuned to their emotions. By consistently paying attention, you strengthen relationships, foster empathy, and create environments where honest communication thrives. Observation becomes a bridge to connection. Finally, noticing small behaviors is a lifelong practice. Every interaction provides opportunities to refine your attention, accuracy, and understanding. The more you observe intentionally, the more you detect subtle emotional truths and respond thoughtfully. Mastery of small behaviors transforms personal and professional relationships, enhances social intelligence, and deepens your capacity for empathy, influence, and connection. When you notice these small details, life becomes more transparent. People's intentions, desires, fears, and motivations are revealed not through words alone, but through countless tiny signals. You gain insight into the human experience that allows you to respond authentically and strategically. Observation turns ordinary interactions into opportunities for understanding, influence, and connection. Awareness of these small behaviors creates a depth of insight that few develop, giving you a distinct advantage in navigating life and relationship. Understanding these subtle behaviors allows you to anticipate needs, avoid misunderstandings, and respond with precision. It gives clarity in situations where words may be misleading. Emotional truths become visible through careful attention, and your responses become intentional rather than reactive. By cultivating this skill, you gain mastery over interactions and create a sense of confidence that is grounded in knowledge, observation, and understanding. The journey of noticing small behaviors is ongoing. Every day offers opportunities to practice, observe, and reflect. Every person you meet is a teacher if you pay attention to the small actions that reveal emotional reality. With dedication, you develop a heightened sense of awareness that improves every conversation, strengthens every relationship, and allows for authentic and meaningful connection. The small details are the doorway to deep insight.
Chapter 7. Strengthen your presence to earn respect in every space. Presence is more than just being physically present in a room. It is the energy, confidence, and authenticity that you carry wherever you go. People notice when someone commands attention without demanding it. Presence is a combination of poise, clarity, consistency, and confidence. It allows you to influence situations, inspire trust, and earn respect naturally. Developing presence is not about being louder or more dominant. It is about being grounded, intentional, and fully aware of how you show up in every space. The first step in strengthening presence is understanding yourself. People who carry genuine presence know their values, priorities, and boundaries. They operate from clarity rather than reaction. When you know what matters to you and what you stand for, others sense it immediately. This self-awareness forms the foundation of confidence, which is central to presence. Presence begins internally. You cannot project respect externally if you do not respect yourself first. Confidence is essential for presence. This does not mean arrogance or dominance. It means trusting your abilities, decisions, and teeter. Confident people communicate without hesitation. Their words, tone, and actions carry assurance that others instinctively recognize. Confidence is built through preparation, practice, and mastery of your craft. The more skilled and knowledgeable you are, the more naturally confident you feel, and confidence radiates outward as presence. Body language communicates presence more than words. Standing tall, maintaining open posture, and using deliberate gestures signal strength and credibility. Avoid slouching, fidgeting, or closed-off postures. as they convey uncertainty. Eye contact demonstrates engagement and respect, while a calm, steady voice reinforces authority. Your physical demeanor influences how people perceive you. Presence is visible, audible, and tangible. It is expressed through every movement and gesture. Voice is a critical tool in presence. Speaking clearly, at a moderate pace, with appropriate volume conveys confidence and ensures your message is heard. Avoid speaking too quickly out of nervousness or hesitancy. A steady voice communicates authority and composure, which naturally commands attention. When you strengthen your voice, people listen, respect, and trust the messages you deliver. Your voice is not only what you say, but how consistently you convey clarity, control, and intention. Emotional stability strengthens presence. People are drawn to those who remain composed under pressure. When you maintain calm in difficult situations, others perceive reliability, maturity, and authority. Emotional stability is built through self-awareness, reflection, and daily practice of regulating your reaction. Strength in presence is less about controlling others and more about controlling yourself. The ability to stay grounded in any scenario elevates the respect you earn and the influence you hold. Listening actively enhances presence. Strong presence is not just about being noticed, it is about being fully attentive and engaged with others. People respect those who make them feel heard and understood. Listening requires focus, patience, and curiosity. Avoid thinking about your response while someone speaks. Instead, absorb their words, tone, and nonverbal cues. Presence grows when people recognize that your attention is undivided, creating trust and connection without a single word of force. Consistency reinforces presence. People respect those whose behavior, tone, and actions remain predictable over time. Reliability is a silent yet powerful form of influence. When your words match your actions and your values align with your behavior, presence becomes authentic. Inconsistent behavior undermines respect, while consistent integrity strengthens your reputation. People sense authenticity, and presence is inseparable from genuine and consistent conduct. Preparation enhances presence. Walking into a space with clarity about your purpose, topics, or goals strengthens confidence and projects authority. When you know your material, your audience, or the situation, you can contribute meaningfully without hesitation. Preparation reduces uncertainty and builds the mental composure necessary to command attention naturally. Presence is amplified when confidence is rooted in readiness and mastery rather than superficial performance. Awareness of space influences presence. Observe the energy of the room, the dynamics between people, and the flow of interaction. People who are attuned to the environment adjust appropriately, maintaining relevance and influence. Awareness allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Presence is not imposed, it is earned through perception, understanding, and alignment with the energy of the space. Energy management strengthens presence. Your energy affects how others feel and respond around you. Calm, balanced, and focused energy communicates control and confidence. Overly aggressive or anxious energy can intimidate or alienate others. By monitoring and adjusting your energy, you guide the atmosphere of interactions, subtly shaping respect and attention. Presence is as much about the emotional impact you create as the words you speak. Clarity in communication is crucial. People respect those who express ideas concisely and coherently. Avoid overcomplicating or rambling, which can dilute impact. Clear communication demonstrates thoughtfulness, knowledge, and authority. Strong presence is reinforced when people understand your intentions and trust your perspective. Presence grows when words are intentional, precise, and aligned with the confidence you project. Authenticity underpins presence. People can sense when someone is genuine or performing. Authentic presence is built on truth, honesty, and alignment with personal values. Avoid trying to mimic others or exaggerate qualities that are not natural to you. Genuine behavior resonates with others, earning trust and respect without effort. Presence that is authentic communicates both credibility and warmth. Boundaries enhance presence. Knowing your limits and protecting your energy demonstrates self-respect, which others recognize. When you say no when necessary and assertively maintain your stance, it conveys authority and confidence. Boundaries prevent manipulation, overcommitment, and reactive behavior. Presence is strengthened when others understand that you are deliberate in your actions, focused in your purpose, and steady in your conduct. Observation enhances presence. Notice how people respond to your words, tone, and energy. Adjust accordingly, without compromising authenticity. Observing small reactions, expressions, and behaviors allows you to guide conversations strategically and maintain authority without dominating. Presence is a dialogue rather than a monologue. It grows through responsiveness and perceptive awareness. Empathy strengthens presence. People respect those who understand and acknowledge emotions without losing composure. By responding thoughtfully to emotional cues, you demonstrate awareness, intelligence, and humanity. Presence is not about overpowering others. It is about creating trust, influence, and connection through thoughtful engagement. Empathy communicates strength subtly, but powerfully. Resilience reinforces presence. Life and social interactions are unpredictable. People with presence handle setbacks, criticism, and interruptions with composure. Resilient individuals recover quickly, maintain focus, and continue to operate confident. Presence is tested in moments of challenge, and the ability to remain grounded, consistent, and composed builds the deepest respect. Those who falter under pressure diminish their influence, while resilience strengthens it. Attention to detail enhances presence. Small behaviors such as greeting others warmly, maintaining eye contact, and responding thoughtfully create strong impressions. Details matter because presence is perceived as a sum of multiple micro-expressions, gestures, and attentiveness. The care you show in these seemingly minor aspects demonstrates competence, respect, and awareness. Strong presence is built one small, consistent action at a time. Adaptability strengthens presence. People respect those who adjust to circumstances without losing composure. Being flexible while maintaining clarity of thought allows you to handle unexpected situations gracefully. Adaptability communicates both competence and confidence, signaling that you can navigate complexity without being destabilized. Presence is more than appearance. It is the ability to engage effectively under any circumstance. Confidence in silence enhances presence. You do not need to fill every pause or dominate every conversation to earn respect. Comfort with pauses, thoughtful listening, and measured responses conveys authority. People notice those who speak when necessary, not constantly, and who contribute meaningfully rather than impulsively. Presence grows when confidence is balanced with patience and intentional communication. Mindset shapes presence. People respond to those who see challenges as opportunities and approach situations with constructive energy. A proactive mindset communicates competence and reliability. Inner clarity, optimism, and focus translate into outward presence. When your mindset is grounded in preparation, resilience, and focus, presence becomes a natural reflection of your inner state. Connection amplifies presence. Presence is not just about being noticed,
It is about creating impact. People remember those who make them feel valued, understood, and respected. Presence is strengthened by engaging genuinely, listening attentively, and responding thoughtfully. Influence grows when people feel your awareness, respect, and clarity, and they naturally respond with trust and cooperation. Practice strengthens presence. Developing the ability to project calm, confidence, and authenticity requires consistent effort. Practice public speaking, interpersonal engagement, and self-reflection regularly. Each interaction becomes a training ground for refining body language, voice, and emotional composure. Presence is not accidental, it is built through conscious, repeated practice over time. Integrity reinforces presence. People naturally respect those whose actions match their words and values. Honesty, fairness, and ethical behavior create credibility and authority. Presence is amplified when others can rely on your consistency and trustworthiness. The stronger your alignment with your principles, the more commanding your presence becomes. Reflection refines presence. After each social interaction, evaluate your behavior, communication, and energy. Consider what went well, what could improve, and how others responded. Reflection deepens self-awareness and enhances your ability to show up intentionally in future interactions. Presence grows when it is cultivated consciously, reinforced by thoughtful assessment, and honed over time. Ultimately, presence is the combination of self-awareness, confidence, emotional regulation, clarity, authenticity, and intentional behavior. It is visible in posture, tone, gestures, and engagement. It is felt in energy, focus, and the way people experience your attention and influence. Presence is earned, not demanded. It commands respect naturally because it communicates competence, composure, and credibility. When presence is strengthened, every space you enter becomes an opportunity to influence, inspire, and connect. People listen, trust, and respond positively because you carry confidence without arrogance, clarity without force, and authenticity without pretense. Presence becomes a lasting impression, a silent authority, and a subtle power that opens doors, builds relationships, and creates influence wherever you go.
Chapter 8. Respond with patience to guide difficult human moments. Patience is one of the most powerful tools you can develop in navigating human interactions. Every day we face situations where emotions run high, misunderstandings arise, and tensions escalate. In these moments, people react impulsively, speak harshly, or make decisions they later regret. Responding with patience transforms these challenging circumstances into opportunities for understanding, influence, and connection. Patience is not passivity, it is strength, clarity, and control. It allows you to guide situations thoughtfully rather than react to chaos. The first step in responding with patience is recognizing your own triggers. Notice what behaviors, words, or situations cause irritation, frustration, or anger. Self-awareness creates the space between stimulus and response, giving you the opportunity to choose patience instead of reaction. When you understand your personal sensitivities, you gain control over how you show up in difficult moments. Awareness transforms potential conflict into deliberate action. Breathing is a simple yet profound tool to cultivate patience. When emotions rise, the body tightens and the mind accelerates. A deliberate deep breath slows heart rate, clears the mind, and signals to yourself that you are in control. Even a few seconds of intentional breathing can prevent impulsive words or actions. This small physical practice reinforces mental patience and provides the stability needed to navigate tension. Listening is essential in difficult moments. Many conflicts escalate because people focus on responding rather than hearing the other person. Patient listening requires full attention, curiosity, and restraint. Hear the words, tone, and underlying emotion without interruption or judgment. People feel valued when they are truly heard, which diffuses tension and creates a foundation for collaboration. Patience in listening is often more influential than any words you speak. Observation complements listening. Pay attention to body language, facial expressions, and gestures. Emotions are often expressed through subtle cues rather than spoken words. Someone may appear calm but exhibit signs of stress or discomfort through posture or micro-expressions. Recognizing these signals allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting based on assumption. Observation strengthens patience because it provides clarity about what is actually happening in the moment. Patience requires perspective. Step back and assess the situation objectively. Ask yourself if this moment will matter in a day, a week, or a year. Many stressful interactions are magnified by immediate emotional intensity rather than long-term significance. Perspective reduces impulsivity, tempers emotional reactions, and allows you to respond in ways that preserve relationships and respect. A patient response is always rooted in clarity of purpose, rather than emotional reaction. Empathy is a cornerstone of patient response. Recognize that others' reactions are often driven by fear, stress, insecurity, or past experience. People may speak harshly, act defensively, or make mistakes not because of you, but because of internal struggles you cannot see. Understanding this creates compassion and reduces frustration. Patience grows when you view difficult behavior as a signal of unmet needs or unaddressed challenges, rather than a personal attack. Timing is essential in patient response. Choosing when to speak, pause, or act allows you to guide situations more effectively. Immediate reactions are often clouded by emotion and may escalate conflict. A deliberate pause creates space for reflection, calm, and strategic communication. Waiting to respond is not avoidance. It is exercising control, creating opportunity, and demonstrating composure. People respect the restraint and thoughtfulness of a patient approach. Clarity in communication reinforces patience. When you respond after observing, listening, and reflecting, your words carry weight and credibility. Timty intentionally, focusing on facts, feelings, and solutions, rather than blame or criticism. Clear communication reduces misunderstanding and demonstrates self-control. Patience ensures that your message is not lost in emotional noise, but is delivered with authority and empathy. Self-regulation under pressure strengthens your ability to remain patient. Difficult moments often provoke adrenaline, anxiety, or irritation. Recognizing the physiological response allows you to manage it, rather than let it control behavior. Techniques such as grounding yourself, visualizing calm, or using deliberate body language reinforce inner stability. Patience is cultivated when your mind and body operate in harmony rather than in reactive tension. Flexibility enhances patient response. Not every situation will unfold as expected. People may resist, misunderstand, or escalate further. Patience is maintained by adjusting your approach without compromising principles or integrity. Flexibility allows you to guide outcomes thoughtfully, adapting to new information or circumstances while remaining composed. Those who are patient and adaptable inspire confidence and trust because they remain steady even under unpredictability. Avoiding assumptions prevents unnecessary conflict. Jumping to conclusions about motives or intentions often escalates tension. Patience requires gathering information, observing behavior, and considering multiple perspectives before reacting. By withholding judgment until clarity emerges, you reduce emotional volatility and respond strategically. People notice when you approach difficult moments with measured understanding rather than impulsive assumptions. Boundaries support patient engagement. Being patient does not mean tolerating disrespect or abuse. Establishing clear boundaries ensures that interactions remain constructive and safe. Communicate expectations calmly, firmly, and respectfully. Boundaries protect your energy and prevent emotional depletion, allowing patience to persist even under challenging circumstances. Patience without boundaries becomes exhaustion, while boundaries enable intentional, controlled response. Reflection strengthens future patient responses. After navigating a difficult moment, consider what worked, what didn't, and how emotional triggers influenced your behavior. Reflection deepens self-awareness, enhances decision-making, and trains the mind to respond with calm in future interactions. Every challenging situation is a lesson in patience, and reviewing experiences allows for continuous growth. Patience fosters problem-solving. When immediate reactions are tempered, space is created for thoughtful consideration. Solutions are more likely to emerge when emotions are regulated and perspectives are clear. Rushed responses often create additional complications, whereas patience promotes clarity, creativity, and constructive resolution. The ability to respond patiently transforms conflict into opportunity. Modeling patience influences others. When you respond with composure under stress, others mirror your behavior. Your example sets the tone for interactions, encouraging calm, thoughtful engagement rather than escalation. Leadership is strengthened when patience guides communication and decision. People are naturally drawn to those who remain steady, consistent, and empathetic in challenging situations. Self-confidence reinforces patience. People who trust their abilities, knowledge, and judgment are less likely to react impulsively. Confidence allows you to listen, observe, and act deliberately, without fear of judgment or failure. Patient responses are grounded in trust in your competence and perspective. Confidence paired with patience creates influence and commands respect even in difficult circumstances. Mindfulness enhances patient engagement. Being fully present allows you to respond to the reality of the moment rather than reacting to assumptions, biases, or past experiences. Mindfulness strengthens observation, empathy, and clarity. It reduces the risk of overreaction and allows you to maintain focus on solutions rather than being consumed by emotion. Patience is a natural byproduct of a mindful, attentive presence. Encouragement fosters patience in others. In difficult moments, patient responses can guide behavior positively. Acknowledging feelings, validating perspectives, and offering constructive input reduces resistance and opens pathways for cooperation. Patience is amplified when your response promotes trust, collaboration, and mutual respect. Difficult situations become manageable when patience is combined with supportive guidance. Consistency maintains patience over time. People respond positively when they can predict calm, measured, and thoughtful behavior. Consistency reduces anxiety, builds trust, and enhances influence. When patience is predictable, others feel secure, leading to more constructive interactions. Consistency strengthens presence and authority because it signals stability even under pressure. Preparation enhances patience in moments of challenge. Anticipating difficult interactions, considering potential triggers, and planning responses provide a sense of control. Preparedness reduces uncertainty, tempers emotional intensity, and allows for strategic, composed engagement. Patience is easier to sustain when you enter situations equipped with knowledge, insight, and a clear approach. Forgiveness supports patience. Difficult moments often involve mistakes, misunderstandings, or hurtful behavior. Holding grudges or reacting defensively undermines composure. Patience requires letting go of resentment and focusing on resolution. By forgiving others and oneself, energy is freed for thoughtful guidance rather than reactive conflict. Forgiveness strengthens patience and preserves relationships. Patience strengthens resilience.
Each difficult interaction is an opportunity to practice composure, empathy, and clarity. Repeated practice builds the mental, emotional, and relational capacity to handle stress without being destabilized. Over time, responding with patience becomes second nature, and difficult moments become manageable rather than overwhelming. Patience is a skill refined through intentional repetition and reflection. Adaptability and patience work together. Situations rarely unfold exactly as planned. People's reactions can be unpredictable, and circumstances may change rapidly. Patience allows you to remain grounded while adapting strategically. This combination creates authority, influence, and stability. Responding patiently while adjusting to circumstances reinforces respect, trust, and credibility in every interaction. Patience fosters problem anticipation. When emotions are regulated and observation is applied, you can foresee potential challenges and act proactively rather than reactively. Anticipation reduces conflict, guides decision-making, and strengthens influence. By responding thoughtfully to anticipated difficulties, you prevent escalation and create opportunities for constructive outcomes. Patience transforms sight into effective action. In challenging moments, patience allows clarity to emerge. When emotions are managed, observation is applied, and listening is prioritized, understanding arises naturally. Clarity allows you to respond strategically, maintain relationships, and guide situations toward resolution. People respect those who remain composed while navigating complexity. Patience reveals intelligence, maturity, and leadership in the midst of difficulty. Ultimately, responding with patience is a skill that strengthens social intelligence, emotional resilience, and personal effectiveness. It allows you to guide interactions with intention rather than be driven by reaction. Patience transforms tension into opportunity, conflict into connection, and uncertainty into clarity. Those who respond patiently earn trust, inspire cooperation, and create respect in every interaction. Mastery of patience is not achieved overnight. It requires self-awareness, reflection, practice, and consistent effort. Every interaction, no matter how small, provides an opportunity to practice patience. Over time, your ability to respond thoughtfully, manage emotions, and guide difficult moments becomes a defining strength. Patience becomes a habit, an asset, and a form of silent authority that shapes influence in every space. When patience is cultivated, difficult moments no longer feel overwhelming. You respond with clarity rather than reaction, with empathy rather than judgment, and with purpose rather than impulse. People notice, respect, and follow those who navigate difficulty with composure. Patience transforms human interactions, turning challenges into opportunities, tension into understanding, and conflict into collaboration.
Chapter 9. Use self-awareness to master your social influence power. Self-awareness is the foundation of every meaningful connection, every interaction, and every influence you have in life. Without understanding yourself, it is impossible to fully understand others or guide them effectively. Social influence does not come from titles, wealth, or force. It comes from clarity of self, emotional intelligence, and the ability to perceive how your actions, words, and energy impact others. Mastering social influence begins with observing yourself honestly, understanding your tendencies, and intentionally aligning your behavior with your values. The first step in developing self-awareness is honest reflection. Examine your actions, thoughts, and reactions without judgment. Notice what triggers anger, impatience, or insecurity. Observe patterns in how you communicate, how others respond to you, and the results of your interactions. Honest reflection is a mirror. It shows what you are doing effectively and what might be undermining your influence. Without this knowledge, influence is random and inconsistent. Self-awareness allows you to recognize the energy you bring into every interaction. Your mood, tone, and focus shape the atmosphere of every room you enter. People are sensitive to energy, often more than they are to words. Are you projecting confidence, calm, and curiosity, or are you transmitting tension, defensiveness, or uncertainty? By understanding your energy and how it impacts others, you gain the ability to adjust, creating influence intentionally rather than accidentally. Understanding your strengths and weaknesses is central to social influence. Identify the skills, qualities, and traits that attract people and help you communicate effectively. Equally important is recognizing areas where you may unintentionally push people away or create misunderstandings. Influence grows when you maximize strength and consciously mitigate weaknesses. Self-awareness allows you to operate strategically rather than reactively in every social scenario. Observe your communication style. How do you speak? How do you listen? Are your words inclusive, assertive, or dismissive? Do you interrupt, over-explaining, or dominate conversations? Self-awareness reveals not just what you say, but how it is received. Influence depends on the perception of your words and intention. By noticing your style and adjusting it thoughtfully, you increase your credibility, trust, and impact. Emotions play a critical role in social influence. Being aware of your emotional state during interactions allows you to respond with clarity and intention. People naturally respond to emotional cues more than logic alone. If you are frustrated, impatient, or anxious, your influence diminishes. Self-awareness trains you to notice emotional fluctuations, regulate responses, and project composure, which strengthens the respect and attention you receive. Intentional listening amplifies influence. People are drawn to those who genuinely hear them. Self-awareness allows you to notice when your attention wanders, when you interrupt, or when you respond prematurely. By staying fully present, asking thoughtful questions, and reflecting back understanding, you create trust, credibility, and influence naturally. Social power is rooted in the ability to understand others deeply, and this begins with listening, while being aware of your engagement. Observe patterns in how people respond to you. Your self-awareness includes understanding the effects of your words, gestures, and actions. Do certain behaviors create openness, agreement, or collaboration? Do others recall, resist, or withdraw in response to specific tendencies? Awareness of cause and effect in social interactions empowers you to adjust behavior to strengthen influence without manipulation or coercion. Influence grows from alignment, clarity, and trust rather than pressure. Self-awareness strengthens credibility. When you recognize your values, act consistently with them, and admit mistakes openly, others trust your words and actions. Trust is the cornerstone of influence. People follow those who are predictable in character, honest in expression, and confident in alignment with principle. Influence without credibility is temporary, but influence rooted in self-awareness is enduring and powerful. Reflection on past interactions provides insight for future influence. After every meeting, conversation, or social exchange, evaluate your behavior and its impact. Did your words create clarity or confusion? Did your energy encourage openness or resistance? Did you respond thoughtfully or react impulsively? Reflection allows you to identify improvements, strengthen patterns of effective behavior, and correct tendencies that undermine influence. Self-awareness turns every social experience into a learning opportunity. Awareness of non-verbal communication expands influence. People interpret body language, facial expressions, and gestures often more accurately than words. Self-aware individuals notice how posture, eye contact, and movement affect perception. Are you projecting confidence or insecurity? Are you engaged or distracted? By aligning non-verbal cues with intention, you reinforce your message, increase authority, and create natural influence. Every movement matters, and self-awareness allows you to control what is perceived. Understanding personal biases enhances influence. Everyone carries assumptions and blind spots. Self-awareness involves recognizing these tendencies and their effect on interaction. Biases can limit perspective, distort judgment, or undermine connection. By becoming aware of your mental and emotional filters, you open space for clarity, empathy, and more effective guidance of others. Influence grows when judgment is measured, inclusive, and intentional rather than reactive and biased. Self-awareness improves emotional intelligence, which is inseparable from social influence. Recognizing how emotions arise within you, how they impact behavior, and how others respond allows for strategic engagement. Emotional intelligence is the ability to read situations accurately, regulate personal reactions, and respond in ways that foster connection. Mastering this skill multiplies influence because people feel understood, respected, and guided rather than coerced. Observe how you respond under pressure. Difficult interactions, conflicting opinions, and challenging personalities test both self-awareness and influence. Notice if you react defensively, withdraw or escalate tension. Patience, composure, and deliberate action are outcomes of self-awareness, allowing you to maintain authority and influence even in high-stress moments. People respect those who are consistent in temperament and behavior under pressure. Adaptability is strengthened through self-awareness. Social influence requires responding to varied personalities, perspectives, and environment. Awareness of your own tendencies allows you to adapt without compromising authenticity. Influence is maximized when you respond thoughtfully to the needs, values, and emotions of others, while remaining consistent in your principles. Adaptable, self-aware individuals navigate complexity with confidence and effectiveness. Self-awareness allows for intentional goal alignment in social interactions. Before entering a conversation, meeting, or negotiation, clarify the purpose and desired outcome. Notice personal emotional triggers, energy, and communication tendencies that may influence results. With this understanding, you operate from strategy rather than instinct. Influence is amplified when intentions are deliberate, informed by self-knowledge, and executed with clarity. Feedback strengthens self-awareness and influence. Seek input from trusted peers, mentors, or observers about how your behavior impacts others. Awareness of blind spots, habitual reactions, or misunderstood communication provides actionable insight for improvement. Influence grows when your self-awareness includes openness to constructive evaluation and the courage to make intentional adjustments. Social power is refined through ongoing learning and reflection. Observe your motivation. Self-awareness includes recognizing why you seek influence. Are your intentions rooted in helping, guiding, or mutual benefit, or are they driven by ego, control, or fear? Influence guided by integrity and purpose earns respect, trust, and cooperation. Awareness of your underlying motivation ensures that your social power is ethical, sustainable, and aligned with long-term goals. Intentional expression strengthens influence. Self-awareness allows you to select words, tone, and gestures that reinforce credibility and connection. Impulsive or poorly considered communication can undermine authority. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice alignment between intention and behavior. Presence, tone, and clarity become tools for influence when used with self-knowledge. Influence is a reflection of intentionality, not chance. Awareness of impact over impression is vital. Focus on how your actions and words affect others, rather than simply how you appear. People follow those whose influence creates understanding, collaboration, and respect. Self-awareness allows you to track reactions, adjust approach, and refine behavior to maximize positive impact. Influence is earned through consideration and alignment,
rather than performance. Boundaries are essential for sustainable influence. Self-awareness allows you to recognize limits in your energy, patience, and capacity to guide others. Maintaining boundaries ensures that interactions remain effective rather than draining. Influence is strengthened when you act with presence, clarity, and calm, instead of overextending or reacting impulsively. Respect for oneself translates directly into respect from others. Practice strengthens mastery of social influence. Every conversation, presentation, or interaction provides an opportunity to observe, reflect, and adjust. Self-awareness is developed through repeated engagement, feedback, and intentional evaluation. Influence grows as observation, understanding, and refinement are applied consistently. Mastery is achieved not through luck, but through deliberate, persistent effort, guided by insight. Mindfulness amplifies self-awareness and influence. Paying attention to present moment experiences, reactions, and surroundings provides clarity in social interaction. Mindful observation allows you to notice subtle cues, emotional undercurrents, and responses that may otherwise go unnoticed. Awareness of these elements allows you to guide interactions thoughtfully, making influence precise and effective. Presence and mindfulness together enhance authority and trust. Integrity reinforces influence. Self-awareness allows you to recognize when actions align with values and when they do not. Influence is earned when your behavior is consistent, honest, and principled. People naturally follow those whose actions match their words and intentions. Awareness ensures that influence is authentic and respected, rather than superficial or forced. Ethical alignment strengthens both credibility and relational power. Reflection consolidates social learning. After every engagement, consider what behaviors worked, how your presence affected others, and where adjustments are needed. Evaluate emotional responses and patterns of reaction in yourself and others. Reflection turns ordinary experiences into lessons for improved influence. Self-awareness and continuous refinement create social power that is thoughtful, intentional, and impactful. Ultimately, self-awareness transforms social influence into a tool for connection, guidance, and leadership. It allows you to navigate complex social landscapes, understand unspoken dynamics, and act with clarity and purpose. Influence emerges from authenticity, understanding, and alignment, rather than manipulation or force. By knowing yourself deeply, you are able to recognize, interpret, and respond to the behaviors, needs, and emotions of others with precision and integrity. Social influence powered by self-awareness creates trust, fosters collaboration, and inspires action. People naturally follow those who understand themselves and others, communicate clearly, and act consistently with principles. Awareness magnifies impact, strengthens relationships, and enhances personal and professional. Mastery of influence begins internally. Self-awareness transforms every interaction into an opportunity to guide, inspire, and lead with authenticity and purpose.
Chapter 10. Grow emotional depth to live with genuine human connection. Emotional depth is the cornerstone of meaningful human connection. It allows you to understand yourself fully, relate to others authentically, and navigate relationships with wisdom and compassion. Living with emotional depth means being aware of your feelings, understanding the feelings of others, and responding in ways that create trust, empathy, and genuine bonds. People are drawn to those who are emotionally present, grounded, and able to connect at a level beyond superficial conversation. Emotional depth transforms interactions into experiences of understanding and mutual respect. The first step in developing emotional depth is understanding your own emotions. Most people go through life reacting to feelings without noticing them. Anger, frustration, joy, sadness, or anxiety often influence behavior unconsciously. By taking time to reflect on your emotional responses, you gain insight into what triggers specific reactions, how you process experiences, and the patterns that shape your interactions. Self-awareness of emotions allows you to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. Journaling is a practical tool to explore emotional depth. Writing about daily experiences, challenges, and responses provides clarity on underlying emotions. It helps identify patterns, triggers, and recurring themes in behavior. Through consistent reflection, emotional awareness strengthens, and you begin to notice subtleties in both your internal state and the behaviors of others. The practice of documenting emotions enhances your capacity to relate to others genuinely. Mindfulness deepens emotional awareness. Being fully present in each moment allows you to notice subtle shifts in mood, energy, and thoughts. It provides insight into the flow of emotions rather than letting them control your actions. Mindfulness trains you to observe feelings without judgment, creating space for thoughtful responses. When you approach interactions mindfully, you notice the unspoken emotional layers in conversations, which builds connection and trust. Empathy is the practical expression of emotional depth. It is the ability to recognize, understand, and share the feelings of others. Empathy begins with listening attentively and observing carefully. People often reveal emotions through subtle cues such as tone, posture, gestures, or facial expressions. By tuning into these signals, you respond with understanding rather than reaction. Empathy is not about agreeing with everything someone feels, but about acknowledging their emotional reality and making them feel seen and heard. Vulnerability enhances emotional depth. Genuine connection arises when people see your authentic self, including your struggles, doubts, and imperfections. Vulnerability fosters trust because it signals honesty and courage. By expressing emotions openly and appropriately, you encourage others to do the same. Emotional depth is strengthened when you allow yourself to be known without fear of judgment, creating an environment where connection is sincere and reciprocal. Active listening is essential for emotional connection. Most people listen to respond, but deep emotional engagement requires listening to understand. Focus fully on the speaker, absorb both words and non-verbal cues, and resist the urge to interrupt or judge. Ask thoughtful questions that show understanding and interest. This level of attention communicates value and care, which strengthens relational bonds. Emotional depth is revealed when listening becomes a practice of presence rather than a strategy. Self-regulation is a pillar of emotional maturity. Deep emotions can arise at any time, and without control they can overwhelm interactions. Recognizing your feelings and managing responses ensures that your behavior supports connection rather than causing harm. Techniques such as pausing before speaking, deep breathing, and reframing thoughts allow you to maintain composure. Emotional depth is expressed through the ability to navigate intense feelings while preserving harmony, respect, and understanding. Curiosity fosters meaningful connection. Genuine interest in others' experiences, perspectives, and emotions opens the door to deeper relationships. Ask open-ended questions, observe reactions carefully, and reflect on what you learn. People respond positively to those who seek to understand them rather than impose opinion. Emotional depth is strengthened when curiosity guides engagement, allowing relationships to evolve naturally and authentically. Emotional resilience enhances the quality of connection. Life presents challenges, disappointments, and conflict. Developing the ability to process emotions constructively ensures that you remain present and supportive in relationships, even during adversity. Resilience allows you to offer stability, reassurance, and empathy when others struggle, which deepens trust and influence. Emotional depth grows when you can navigate both your own and others' emotional turbulence with grace. Understanding patterns in others' behavior strengthens connection.
Emotions are expressed repeatedly in subtle ways, through words, gestures, and routine. By observing these patterns over time, you gain insight into needs, fears, and desires that may not be spoken directly. Awareness of these emotional signals allows you to respond appropriately, building rapport and trust. Emotional depth is developed when observation is combined with sensitivity and thoughtful engagement. Gratitude fosters emotional richness. Recognizing the positive aspects of experiences and relationships creates warmth and openness in interaction. Expressing appreciation enhances relational bonds and strengthens mutual respect. People feel valued and recognized when gratitude is communicated sincerely. Emotional depth is reflected not only in understanding and empathy, but also in acknowledgement and appreciation of the positive qualities in others. Conflict provides an opportunity to practice emotional depth. Difficult conversations often trigger strong emotions, but they also reveal core values and vulnerabilities. Responding with patience, active listening, and empathy transforms conflict into constructive dialogue. Emotional depth is expressed when challenges are approached with calm, clarity, and intention, rather than defensiveness or reactivity. The ability to navigate tension strengthens relationships and builds trust. Awareness of emotional triggers is critical. Recognizing what evokes strong reactions in yourself helps you respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. It also allows you to anticipate how others may react in certain situations. Emotional depth is cultivated by noticing triggers, reflecting on responses, and adjusting behavior to maintain harmony and connection. Self-awareness amplifies the capacity to influence interactions positively while respecting emotional boundaries. Storytelling enhances connection. Sharing personal experiences, lessons, and emotions invites others into your world. When stories are authentic and reflective of your feelings, they create relatability and empathy. Emotional depth is communicated through narratives that resonate with shared human experiences. Storytelling strengthens influence, builds rapport, and encourages others to express themselves openly. People are drawn to those who communicate truthfully and vulnerably. Humility strengthens emotional depth. Recognizing that you do not have all the answers, that you can make mistakes, and that others' perspectives hold value fosters mutual respect. Humility allows you to listen without defensiveness and accept feedback without threat. Emotional depth grows when interactions are based on respect, equality, and openness rather than ego or control. Genuine connection arises when people feel safe to express themselves without judgment. Consistency nurtures trust in relationship. Emotional depth is not expressed in isolated moments, but through reliable engagement over time. Being emotionally present, responsive, and considerate consistently signals that you are dependable and sincere. People gravitate toward those who exhibit steady, compassionate behavior, creating stronger and more meaningful connections. Influence in relationships is amplified by trust earned through consistent, emotional authenticity. Forgiveness is an act of emotional depth. Everyone experiences misunderstandings, conflicts, and disappointments. Holding on to resentment or judgment blocks connection and growth. Choosing to forgive allows relationships to heal, trust to rebuild, and emotional energy to remain positive. Emotional depth is reflected in the ability to let go of past hurts while maintaining empathy and compassion for others. Forgiveness strengthens bonds and fosters mutual respect. Attention to small gestures reinforces connection. People communicate emotions subtly through tone, expression, and action. Recognizing and responding to these signals demonstrates care and attentiveness. A kind word, a smile, or thoughtful action often carries more weight than verbal assurance. Emotional depth is revealed when interactions are guided by sensitivity and awareness of these nuanced signals, creating meaningful, lasting impact. Curating relationships based on emotional quality is essential. Seek connections with people who value empathy, openness, and authenticity. Minimize engagement in superficial or toxic interactions that drain emotional energy. Emotional depth flourishes in environments where honesty, trust, and mutual respect are prioritized. The company you keep influences the depth of connection and the richness of relational experience. Boundaries support emotional depth. Being clear about your limits, needs, and comfort zones protects your energy and preserves authenticity. Healthy boundaries allow you to engage fully with others without overextending or losing yourself. Emotional depth is sustained when interactions are balanced, intentional, and grounded in self-respect. Boundaries create space for genuine connection rather than reactive entanglement. Reflecting on emotional experiences deepens understanding. After interactions, consider what emotions were present, how they were expressed, and how you responded. Evaluate whether engagement strengthened connection, caused friction, or revealed patterns. Reflection turns daily experiences into opportunities for growth, enhancing emotional awareness and relational skill. Emotional depth is cultivated through consistent examination and refinement of behavior and responses. Active support strengthens human connection. Offering encouragement, assistance, or acknowledgement demonstrates empathy and care. Emotional depth is expressed through actionable gestures that address others' needs and feelings. Presence, attentiveness, and responsiveness in supporting others fosters reciprocity, trust, and collaboration. Relationships deepen when emotional intelligence is applied in tangible, meaningful ways. Integration of emotional and cognitive awareness amplifies connection. Emotional depth requires understanding not only how you feel, but why those feelings arise and how they influence interaction. Insight into motives, patterns, and triggers allows deliberate engagement rather than reactive behavior. Cognition paired with emotion strengthens communication, decision-making, and influence in relationships. Depth emerges when insight and feeling operate together. Vulnerability, empathy, self-reflection, active listening, consistency, and mindfulness are pillars of emotional depth. These practices create environments where genuine connection thrives. Relationships become a space for understanding, growth, and shared humanity, rather than superficial exchange. Emotional depth transforms daily interactions into meaningful engagement, fostering trust, respect, and intimacy across personal and professional contexts. Ultimately, emotional depth is a lifelong pursuit. It requires reflection, observation, practice, and willingness to engage fully with your own emotions and those of others. The more consciously you cultivate awareness, empathy, and authenticity, the richer and more meaningful your relationships become. Emotional depth allows life to be experienced fully, interactions to be sincere, and connections to be lasting. It is the foundation of influence, trust, and human fulfillment. When emotional depth is practiced daily, every conversation, relationship, and connection becomes an opportunity for understanding and growth. People notice those who are present, attentive, and genuinely engaged. Trust is earned, respect is cultivated, and influence flows naturally. Emotional depth allows you to navigate human complexity with grace, compassion, and insight. Life becomes richer, connections stronger, and every interaction an opportunity to leave a positive, lasting impression.